there, and then drive to Orlando, and then
We're
we're
on
on to Tampa, on to Naples,
Yes,
drive
sir.
over to Tampa. and play.
Fellow citizens,
They go down.
I call to order the February meeting of the Lafayette City Council. Please stand and join us in the pledge to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okey-doke.
Madam Clerk.
Okay. Clinker,
Here.
Nargi. Here. Snyder,
Present.
Reynolds, Weiss,
Present.
Aldersmeyer.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Downing.
Here.
Brown. Quorum
Yep,
present.
yep. We need to approve the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes of the January 10th, 2022 meeting.
Second.
Got it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any, that the minutes be approved as submitted? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Being none, the minutes are approved.
Okay.
Presentation and disposal of claims.
There are none.
Presentation of petitions and communications.
There's none.
Reports of city offices on file at the city clerk's office.
Fleet maintenance, monthly December. Renew department, monthly December. And waterworks department, monthly December.
All those reports are in the city clerk's office for your perusal at your pleasure. You might want to look at them because that's how we're spending your money. There are no ordinances for second reading. Ordinances for first reading.
Ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance reestablishing the cumulative capital development fund.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move we hear ordinance 2022-01 on first reading.
Second.
You guys are all quick tonight.
I know. We're on here.
We're getting double seconds.
We want to get to the main
Oh, thanks.
The main show.
event.
Big
Mayor.
show.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, you have before you an ordinance to reestablishing the cumulative cap development fund, as most of you that remember. Steve and Eileen were not here at the time, but in 2020, we reestablished that fund. It hadn't actually been reestablished in 17 years. And had went down considerably, and we took a look at that. It was almost a $500,000 loss in revenue at the time. So we reestablished that rate that's set for us by state law, and got that rate back up. And then the first year was the rate. This year, the rate's already dropped off a little bit. So this will establish it for the next year. That will bring it back up. Then we'll probably let it drop off for a year again and bring it back up. Not going to bring it back up every year, but every 2 or 3 years. And I got thinking that was probably a better idea than even waiting 5 or 6 years, because then people they might feel that a little bit. I mean, this is a very, very small percentage. So by doing it every other year, some people probably are not going to pay any additional extra. Some it will be in a matter of in cents, less than $1. So it might be better to do that every other year, keep it kind of consistent so it's never a big chunk, that it's always, well, like doing a budget, right? It stays more steady, and you can come to expect that. So I would appreciate your approval in reestablishing the fund. Be happy to answer any questions.
President.
Ma'am.
Yes, Mayor. I'll beg to differ with you on this. I was here for the actual original passage of this.
Well, I meant the one where we reset. Yes, yeah.
Because this goes clear back to 1984,
Yes,
correct?
yes, it does. Yeah. So you were here for the first one, not the one 17 years ago, right? So,
You were just a kid then, right?
well, I was on the police department in '85. I was a detective. So, yeah. So we're going to try to keep it a little more consistent for folks. So we'd appreciate your approval in reestablishing the rate.
Any other questions by councilman?
Call for the question.
We have to
Go public first.
ask the people. Any questions from the public? Being none?
Clinker,
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Snyder,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Aldersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Next is ordinance 2022-02.
We need to set a public hearing.
Oh,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
We need to set a public hearing.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
We'll set the public hearing for 3/7 at
At
6:01.
Or 6:01.
We just need a voice vote. All those in favor?
Melissa motion and Steve seconds, so we're ready for
Okay.
a voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
And then we move on.
Ordinance 2022-02, an ordinance to amend the ordinance 2021-54, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the sworn protective occupation and law enforcement poll members of the police and fire departments for the year 2022.
Pleasure of the council.
I move to hear ordinance 2022-02 and approve.
Second.
All right. Yep. This ordinance, it may feel a little bit like deja vu because we have already corrected a Scrivener's error related to the 2022 poll salary ordinance. After we corrected the last one, we did locate an additional one with regard to the specialty field compensation pay. So this ordinance will correct that, and it has been, now the exhibit has been looked at by, I think, almost everyone, and we are very confident that this is it, and it's taken care of all the Scrivener's error. So we'd ask for your approval.
So which one?
The redo of the redo.
There were some specialty field compensations that were originally left off.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, are there any questions by councilman? Any questions from the public on ordinance 2022-02? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Clinker?
Aye.
Nargi? Aye. Snyder?
Aye.
Weiss?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
On to ordinance 2022-03.
An ordinance to amend ordinance 2021-53, an ordinance fixing the salaries of appointed officers and employees of the city of Lafayette, Indiana for the year 2022, excluding the sworn protective occupation and law enforcement members of the police and fire departments.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the,
Good. Hold on. It's not on the floor yet.
We need.
what?
I move we hear ordinance 2022-03.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
Let me know what you guys and ladies want. Out here, so.
I'll catch up with you guys in a minute.
I want Purdue to beat Illinois
All right,
tomorrow.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, you have before an ordinance that's going to do a couple different things, and so I'm going to start out talking about that in general. So, as you know, most of you from looking at the emails, Jackie will be coming over to City Hall. Well, actually 515 Columbia. We're going to move legal services in-house. We feel that that is a good move for us. We are very large and there's a lot going on every day. And having our city attorney working here every day, 8 hours a day, we think will help us be more efficient, more effective, get things done quicker, and hopefully save us some money in the long run also. And so I know Jackie is excited about it. She feels it's a good move for her also. And she has been the deputy city attorney for a long time and now the city attorney, so she's got a good feel for what takes place. And I can tell you the department heads are excited about it, having somebody that you can run across the hall, you don't have to try to make a call, is we feel really beneficial to do us. So this first ordinance that you see here moves some money from different legal categories that we would have been paying to the law firm to pay her salary and benefits inside the city limits of Lafayette. So that's the first thing that this ordinance addresses. The second is we have a custodial staff member that after speaking with our head of facilities and really reevaluating what she does and what she's been asked to do, we're going to be moving her from an LTC 1 to an LTC 2. We feel that she deserves the increase. She's a really good custodian, works really hard for us, and we feel that this is the proper pay scale for the duties that she's performing. So this will move Linda to an LTC 2. So that's the two things that are in here. We'd appreciate your approval on both. We feel they're both good moves for the city. Jeremy Deal, our city controller, is here present. If you would have any other financial questions about either one of these, he's here and prepared to answer those.
Any questions from the council?
Yes,
Did you say that she's going to be at 515 Main Street?
Columbia.
Columbia.
So we own the building right beside us here. Economic Development is over there, Dennis Carson and his team, Dave Hunky and Patty, Communications and Marketing, Marjorie Deverall with our arts, and then Adam Murphy, our homeless outreach, are all in 515 Columbia. So she's there because we don't have any offices left over here right now.
And John Collier.
Yeah.
Don't
We-
forget John.
Yeah, who?
Forget John Collier.
Oh, John.
John's in the basement.
This meeting's being recorded, so I'm going to leave it at that. But, sorry, John. But so eventually, we think that that probably is not her permanent office. But
Okay.
we think for right now, once the police department, as you know, will move into the new building, we'll be doing some different things with that side of the building. But for right now, space is kind of at a premium till that building's done, and I think she's comfortable over there. I think it's worked out just fine, so we'll change that in the future, though.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the public on ordinance 2022-03? Being none,
This
Madam-
does not make any difference to the budget.
No, and there's a budget appropriation ordinance that comes later that will not actually increase the budget to actually move things around.
Just
So
wanted everyone to
which
understand.
basically we're just creating a line item, right?
basically, you're just moving, well, when you get to the
Moving
appropriation
funds.
ordinance, you're moving funds from what are now in outside legal counsel contract funds inside to fund the legal department.
Okay.
This is just creating the internal position.
Works for me. Madam Clerk?
Clinker?
Aye.
Nargi?
Aye.
Snyder?
Aye.
Lees?
Why?
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downey?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
On to ordinance number 2022-05.
An ordinance for an additional appropriation of American Rescue Plan Grant Fund number 1760.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move for passage of ordinance number 2022-05.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded.
Yeah, got it.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, as you know, the city was appropriated ARP funds, $8 million in the first round and about an $8 million in the second round. We put a committee together here at City Hall. It didn't take us that long, quite honestly. I feel like we do a good job planning here, whether it's our neighborhood plans, 5 points redevelopment, water, wastewater, stormwater. We do a lot of planning. And so it was pretty easy for us that when we looked at where this money might be most beneficial, it was going to be in our water utility. As you know, water, unlike wastewater, doesn't have some of the home rule advantages, and so their ability to create depreciation funds and some other things like that are not quite as easy as it is with wastewater. We know that water in all of our neighborhoods and all of our businesses is incredibly important. We are blessed to sit on top of the Taze Aquifer, which is a prehistoric aquifer that runs from West Virginia, loops across through Indiana and over into Missouri and Lafayette and other parts right through here, set on the widest and deepest part. So we're very, very lucky. Water will be like oil someday in the way that we're going and as far as a commodity. There's a lot of places that already run low on water at different times of the year. So we want to take this money and we want to do several upgrades to our water infrastructure that will allow us to have some redundancy now and most importantly, prepare for the future and do those things that we think will be ensure that we always have clean, healthy, affordable drinking water for all of our citizens. We certainly don't want to be like some of the other communities that we've seen with some horrific water situations. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Moore. Steve Moore is our superintendent with our water department, and he's going to talk a little bit about the plan. Steve, do we have a representative from Westler here tonight? You going to handle it? Okay, so he'll be telling you about the plan. We worked with Wessler Engineering. As you know, Wessler does a lot of our water infrastructure for many, many years. And so we worked with a professional firm to help us put this plan together, put our numbers together, and make sure that we were using this money as effectively as possible. So Steve will tell you a little bit about the plan. And Jeremy Deal, again, our city controller, is also here if you have any other financial questions regarding the plan or the ARP funds, to answer those questions for you. So with that, I'll turn it over to Steve Moore.
Good evening, President and ladies and gentlemen of the council. As the mayor stated, I'm Steve Moore. I'm the superintendent for the waterworks in Lafayette. And the projects that he spoke about is an addition of a 2 million gallon water tank on the south side of Lafayette. It was determined a need during a capital improvement plan that was outlined in 2016 to add that tank to that side of town. Would add an additional 2 million gallons of storage, will increase and improve the pressure in that area. And with the future growth and the current growth, it's deemed as a needed addition to our system. And it would also help us in a if we had a fire situation, that would we would still be able to maintain the volume and the pressure to the existing homes and businesses. The other improvement that we had was with our Glick well field. There's some electrical improvements that was identified as a need, just to replace all of the motor starters and some of those components to make those motors run and pump more efficiently than they currently do. And the addition of a backup generator that we've never had at the Glick well field. So part of these improvements would allow us to add that backup power source and to rehabilitate and maintain one of our interceptor wells that's there that would intercept any contaminant that may contaminate that aquifer and get it out before it makes it into the distribution system. Very important to have that. And on the treatment side of that facility, we currently have chemical injection points are all in the discharge line leaving that treatment facility are all in one vault, and they go in one localized area on that water main. And we've had numerous breakdowns and stuff as a result of everything going in one spot. So we want to spread that out, add another underground vault. Makes it safer for our team members to get in there and maintain that system, and it spreads that out to where not everything is going in the exact same spot. And that would complete that. And that project is in design phase now with Wessler, as the mayor mentioned. So those are the improvements, and also some cybersecurity system upgrades for water and sewer. Our what we call our SCADA systems, our supervisory control and data acquisition systems, it's our control systems for the water and the sewer, are vulnerable to cyber attack. And you've probably seen in the news where that's happened with some ransomware. And this would bring an outside cybersecurity expert in to make sure that our systems are well protected. And the addition of some video cameras and some recording devices so we can surveil the water plant and the sewer plant to make sure that we have the highest amount of security that we can possibly have. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the council?
This is a classic case of the government, federal government, instead of bringing down mandates, actually giving money to local governments to help improve some
Yes.
infrastructure.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that change for,
Yeah. And these are needed improvements and
Absolutely.
additions. Absolutely. So,
thank you for your explanation.
thank you.
That infrastructure thing.
The ordinance sets up that, and then the resolution is the plan? Is that correct?
That is correct. So just based on the order of our council agenda, we're considering the appropriation ordinance first, which we will
First.
consider today. And then, of course, we don't finally adopt until the March meeting after the public hearing. And then
Right.
the resolution is what incorporates the actual plan.
Okay.
Any other questions from the council?
office has done to track this money and everything. So
Certainly.
Jeremy, to speak also, please.
Sure. So today, Jeremy Deal, City Controller. Ladies and gentlemen of council, the fund itself for the ARPA funds, the City of Lafayette's allocation, was created earlier in the year. We received our first tranche of monies that we were scheduled to be received in May. That's the $8 million that you are appropriating today. So essentially today, this action is to authorize expenditure of the money that we already have in our coffers. My office will set up project accounts to individually track the projects that Steve just summarized. There are lengthy and very involved reporting requirements for this money, as is normal with federal funds receipt. We're prepared to handle all of those obligations, though. So, yeah, today, I appreciate your appropriation of the monies, and I assure you that it'll be used in the best interests of the citizens of the city.
Now, it sounded to me as if you said this is the first.
Right.
We're getting more money?
We'll receive another $8 million this spring.
Okay.
So we'll be revisiting you with another appropriation request for that second tranche of money. And we'll have to obviously modify our community investment plan to incorporate further expenditure of another $8 million, so.
And we will be glad to see you.
All right, yes. Thank you very much.
As a business manager myself, Jeremy, I can appreciate how difficult it is to keep track of all those funds, so.
Sometimes it's worth the effort, though.
It is. In this case, it is, right?
Absolutely.
So thank you for your hard work.
Thank
'cause
you.
It's hard to keep track of.
Are there any other questions from the council? Any questions from the public regarding ordinance 2022-05? Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
Clinker.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Excuse me, moving on to ordinance. Oh, gosh, I keep forgetting.
We have quite a few this month,
Yeah.
which is unusual, so.
We will need to set a public hearing for March 7th, 6:02 PM.
So
Have a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Okay, then we're
Thank
set.
you.
Now we can move on. Ordinance 2022-06.
An ordinance for appropriation reduction of general fund 1010 for the additional appropriation of general fund 1010.
I move for passage of ordinance number 2022-06.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Sir,
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of council, Jeremy Deal, City Controller. Before you is an ordinance for appropriation reduction and addition, both within the general fund. As we touched on briefly a little while ago, with the creation of a legal department in the general fund and with the creation of several accounts with budget in that fund, we need to observe DLGF rules. And when you have a departmentalized budget, we need to execute funding of a new department by reduction and appropriation rather than by a transfer. So this is just a formality that's required, budget rules. So as Jackie had indicated, we are doing a reduction from pre-budgeted legal counsel budget amounts in various departments. And we're reappropriating that same money in the legal department that we've established to serve the city attorney and her efforts. So there's no net change to the budget. It is a zero sum, but it is by rule being conducted as a reduction and then a reappropriation.
sounds good to me. Any questions from the council? Are there any questions from the public regarding ordinance 2022-06? Being none, Madam Clerk?
Clinker.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Thank you.
We will need to set another public hearing at
6:03
6:03.
on the, so moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And then we move on to resolutions. Resolution 2022-02.
A resolution adopting a community investment plan detailing the use of American Rescue Plan Act funding. Need a motion.
So,
I move to hear Resolution 2022-02 and approve.
Second.
moved and seconded. Mr. Mayor?
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, this goes along with the previous ordinance that you passed. We wanted to give you some of the information about the plan up there also before you voted on it for the first time. So this resolution is, you've appropriated the money. This resolution now, it says you're approving the plan. So if you would like Steve and I to go over that plan again, we'll be happy to do that. If you feel like you remember it from a couple ordinances ago, then see, I got my shot in there.
I'm worried if we didn't.
Explained well.
That would be special.
But we would be happy to answer any additional questions that you might have. As you know, we will have another reading on this next month to finalize it, but this is actually approving the plan for the $8 million, as both gentlemen have said. We'll see how that goes. We'll come back to you then with with amendment to this plan for the second $8 million. We felt it was proper we thought doing this in chunks made more sense for us, the council, the citizens, to be able to understand what we're doing with it and see the work and how it's taking place, more transparent. So as we move on down the process, we'll come back, we'll vote on things again, and people will get another opportunity to have their voice heard and to get some additional information.
Any questions from the council? Are there any questions from the public regarding Resolution 2002-02? Madam Clerk?
Clinker?
Aye.
Nargi?
Aye.
Snyder?
Aye.
Lees?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Moving on. Reports of standing committees. Reports of special committees. Report by the mayor. State of the city.
Sign this before it gets any. Yeah.
All right. Hopefully that camera won't bother anybody. We're going to video this so we can play it for give as many people as possible the opportunity to see it. So, okay, Dave, thank you. Mr. President, members of the City Council, those in attendance, and all the citizens of Lafayette, it is my honor to deliver to you my State of the City address. I would like to begin by thanking all of our citizens. The strength of any community is its people. Our citizens are dedicated, committed, engaged, and are the foundation of our wonderful city. I would like to say thank you to you, the City Council members, who work diligently to better our community and to represent your constituents, and to all those who volunteer their time to serve on our many city boards and commissions. A sincere thank you to our department heads and team members who work every day to deliver outstanding city services. And a special thank you to all the staff here at Lafayette who performed exemplary during this recent snow emergency to clear our streets in a timely and efficient manner and to keep our city moving. And a special heartfelt thank you to Cindy Murray, our amazing clerk. I could not do my job without you, so thank you, Cindy, for what you do. As you are fully aware, one of the primary responsibilities of the City Council is to be the fiscal body and to ensure the wise use of our tax dollars. I am pleased to report that at the end of 2021, we were once again in a strong financial position. The current rainy day fund is at $6,289,212. If you recall, in 2004, the fund had $11,200 in it. Our cash operating balances have increased. We have developed investment and debt management policies that continue to work well. We have $6,227,412 in edit reserves, which brings our total in reserves to $12,516,624, which represents 28.7% of the general fund and 17.8% of the civil city budget. Our utility finances are in a strong position. Our tax increment financing districts have favorable and positive cash flow positions also. So that gives you some information on the finances. Thank you to Jeremy Deal. I'm ad-libbed now, but thank you to Jeremy Deal and his team and everyone that works to keep our tax rate very low, manage our money well, and we've done a tremendous job increasing our cash reserves over the last several years. I will now use a significant portion of my State of the City address to talk about public safety, and in fact to demonstrate how safe our community is, and to present an accurate and transparent accounting of crime statistics covering 20 years of data. I will present the information both orally and through the use of graphs. I feel the visual aids will be very helpful in putting the information into perspective. We will be discussing the Part 1 crimes that we report to the FBI and are considered the most serious offenses. They are homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny, which is theft, auto theft, and arson. First and foremost, Part 1 crimes in Lafayette are down. They are not up, and they are down significantly. With the help of analyst Micah Lupa, we went back to 2002. That's 20 years of Part 1 crime data. And the fact is, in 2002, there were 3,400 Part 1 crimes, and in 2021, there were 2,254 Part 1 crimes. That is a 33% decrease from between that 20-year span. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you some graphs, and then I'm just going to walk back and forth. So the first graph I have here is total Part 1 crimes, going back to 2002 to 2021. So that gives you 20 years worth of data. Not cherry picking any years, not leaving some years out, going back 20 years of straight data that went to the FBI. So as you can see, back in 2002, we had the 3,400 crimes that I talked about, and then in 2021, we were down in the 2,200 range. And that's the 33% decrease that we have, and that kind of can show you on a chart, because I know sometimes it feels like we're just inundated with stories and data, right? We have our phones in our hands, we have phones, our TVs, our computers, everything, and you see crime, and you see crime, and you see stories, and pretty soon it can create that mindset that that crime is up, and in some parts of the country it is up, and it's up significantly. But we are not. I'll give you a perfect example. This weekend I woke up and I went to my phone to check, and I went to one of our media outlets here, and picture police lights first thing, police shoot man after holding children hostage, and I went, oh my God, what happened? Why didn't they notify me? So I start reading. It's an evidence cell. Yeah. Okay? And I understand our media partners, they should. They report crimes from around the state of Indiana. I don't have any problem with that at all. But it's easy to get caught up in the noise and not really look at what's taking place. So, we started out over here. Right here, you see a big spike in Part 1 crimes. Crimes went up, like I said. not cherry picking anything, we're showing everything. This is the start of the opioid crisis. We had a huge spike in crime during the opioid crisis. Lots of people suffered during that. Overdoses were up. My guess is there's people in this room that have either lost a family member or had to deal with something involving the opioid crisis. The people got hooked on that in different ways and tried meth, tried heroin, and it was a really difficult period. We were working, doing the best that we could. As you know, in 2015, we started putting together our plan and implementing some of the plans that we had. 2016, we formally announced those. So just for some of the new council members and for refresh everybody's memory, we talked about adding police officers, adding detectives. We talked about what we were going to do with our street crimes unit. We talked about what we are doing with the intervention team. We created the community outreach division and the crime prevention division. We hired 2 analysts like Micah, who helped me put all this together to help predict crime. We also went down, created the ARC in the basement, took a lot of you on a tour. So we announced those plans and we implemented them, and the fact is they're working. I mean, those things are working, and the opioid crisis has also subsided to some extent. And so what we're doing on the police department is working. But I also want to thank all of the citizens and also encourage them that reducing crime is a community effort. A policeman can only, and a city and a government can only reduce crime so much, right? We need to fund pre-K education. We need to pay our teachers. We need to make sure we have mental health and addiction services. Be nice if every kid had 2 great sets or 1 great parent, right? That could help them before they got to the stage where they're committing these crimes. If you want crime to really go down, society has to help. So when somebody looks at me and says, what are you doing to reduce crime? I'm polite and I'll tell them, and then I say, well, what are you doing? Are you volunteering at Hannah? Are you a big brother helping big brothers and big sisters? Are you helping Bauer Community Center? Are you going to do Read to Succeed? It takes the entire community to help keep these numbers where we want them and to improve the quality of life that we want to improve for all of our citizens. So that's that one. This one here is the same general graph, but by percentage. It goes back to 2002, goes forward to 2021. So this just shows you a little bit what the change was by percent up and down, and how it spiked, the ups, the downs, the opioids, and the implementation of our plans. And that's the 33% from one end of the graph. And just as we talked about on the other one, here's the spike. And I know, you know, right there we had a really huge dip. And not all crime is explainable. It's just not. I mean, you know, it's just not why somebody commits a homicide sometimes, how somebody loses their temper. I mean, not all crime is just explainable for all the ups and downs. But so there's the chart that shows how it looked from percentage change over the last 21 years. This next one is part 1 crimes over the last 5 years since we've implemented our all the plans that we put in place, all those things I was telling you about. So again, really, really interesting. So here's aggravated assaults. This is where our shootings are at. We know that our shootings are up, and we have to continue to work on that. But overall, in the last couple, in the 5-year period, that and other assaults have actually went down enough that aggravated assaults as a whole are down 6%, which is really, really good. Arson, you don't see a bar for arson. It's not changed. It's not gotten any better. It's not gotten any worse. It's a very small number of crimes. It's not changed. I mean, that's just the reality of it. The next bar I'm sorry, is auto thefts. Auto thefts are up 29%. It's not something you hear a whole lot about, but the most we've had in a year out of the 20 years was 250. Most years are around 140 to 170, kind of fluctuates. I'm not sure why. We're really looking into why this is up, but I will tell you that mopeds and mini bikes and little motorcycles are included in here. And so I noticed that some years moped accounted for 30-some% of the cases. So not that it's good if somebody gets their moped stolen, but it's not just cars and trucks. It's mopeds and those little motorcycle things that you can ride and stuff too. So that's how that number is. Then burglaries are way down, and that's wonderful, right? I mean, you get your house burglarized, that's a traumatic event. And to have burglaries down 26% means a lot to a lot of people that didn't face that crime. Homicides are up. So when you look at the last 5 years, we were at about 3.85, and we had a year where we had a 6 and a 7. So that bumped it 2. So because it's such a small number, between 3.85 and 6, it shows 26%, but that's the difference between 3.85 and 6. And, you know, again, those are hard to explain. Most of those are people dealing drugs and getting involved in drug deals. You are still incredibly safe and very highly unlikely that you would be the victim of a serious violent crime in Lafayette if you were not dealing drugs or involved in some type of criminal activity. Not perfect, I'm not saying 100% because that's not true either, but it's minuscule. It's very, very small. Domestic violence plays a role in these sometimes, very unfortunately, but sometimes they play a role in that also. Fortunately, most of our shootings do not end up in homicides, obviously, and they fluctuate. I've got one of my sheets here that I'll talk about in just a minute to show you, you know, ironically, the most homicides we've ever had in the last 20 years in 1 year is 7. And the only other time we've had 7 in Lafayette was in 1977. And the population was half of what it is now. There's no rhyme or reason for that. Sometimes human nature just happens. So larceny is down, rape is down, and robbery is down. So those 4 that are down have stopped a huge number of citizens from being a victim of a crime. Most Part 1 crimes, 90% of all Part 1 crimes are burglary, larceny, and aggravated assault. They make up 90% of all Part 1 crimes, and all 3 of those categories are down. So I think that's a very useful chart as you look at you know, the data over the years and how it can fluctuate. And here's the last one. This is Lafayette's population in regards to Part 1 crimes. I'll start over here on this side this time. As you know, our population has grown considerably. I think we were grossly undercounted in the current census. I don't think our numbers are correct. I think our trend line would have been is closer to 75,000. You know, they only were giving us about 70, and I don't think that's right. But we used the census data. Again, we didn't just populate our own. We used the official. Dennis Carson's intern helped Micah put that together. So if you look at our population in the gray, populations went up nicely. I said it's actually dipped a little bit there, which we certainly don't agree with. But we won't worry about that for now. And then here is the crime during the same period. So when you get over to here, even though our population has went up dramatically in the last 20 years, the crime, overall Part 1 crimes, has still went down in the last 20 years. So I hope these charts help you kind of understand what's really happening. The men and women of our department are doing a tremendous job. We have plans, there's things that we're doing that I've not even discussed tonight, it's just operationally sensitive and it's not good to, but there are things that we're doing and they're working. We just all have to keep working together. But I do think it's important that we keep in perspective what is actually taking place. All right, I'll conclude with some quick thoughts on that, then I'll move to the rest. Areas that we are still working on the most is shootings. And when we say shootings, not every time somebody shoots do they actually hit somebody, but they're all lumped in there together. So we are still working on that area. Fortunately, most of our shootings do not result in death, and the vast majority involve people that know each other and are involved in illegal narcotics trades. Again, homicides, we'll continue to try to reduce the shootings and other factors, but a lot of that is going to have to be society, right? We're all going to have to work together to stop a lot of those things from happening. And to show you how that can fluctuate, so in 2002, we had 5 homicides. In 2021, we had 6. But we had some years in there were 0. We had some years in there were 4. I mean, it kind of goes back and forth. But if you drew a graph just of that, it would go up and down, but there's not huge variations in it for the last 20 years. So just to reiterate, crime is trending downward. The total number of Part 1 crimes is lower in 2021 than it was in 2002. 2021 was the lowest number of robberies, burglaries, and larceny in the past 20 years. We continue to find new and innovative ways to fight crime. Our $55 million Public Safety Center is on track for completion in 2023 and will be a state-of-the-art facility with cutting-edge technology leading us into the 21st century to further address and reduce criminal activity. The new center will not only feature the best environment for law enforcement personnel to do their work, but will have a large public community room, an outdoor public park, and community spaces for interactions among our citizens with our police personnel. But it's not just technology and brick and mortar. It's about relationship building, community policing, and working with all of our citizens so fair and equitable treatment, safety, and a better quality of life for everyone. The men and women of the Lafayette Police Department are doing a tremendous job. The City of Lafayette's initiatives are working, but the reality is we need every citizen to do their part to keep this community safe. Be engaged, stay vigilant, because we are stronger together. My administration and I are firmly committed to public safety. It is our #1 priority, and I can tell you we are all in always on public safety. So we'll skip to some of the other items here, and I know I've talked for a while, but I'll finish it up here in just a second. 2021 was an important year for finishing up significant projects. The beautiful new Loeb Stadium has hosted its first baseball season and many other events. The response from the community has been tremendous. The Columbian Park Lagoon and Memorial Island was completed, and it's amazing. The carousel building is complete and awaiting arrival of the new carousel this summer. The pedal boats are back and the train has been refurbished. Crosser Girls Softball Complex opened and had a wonderful first season. Our parks and recreation are in great shape, and we continue to focus on creating memorable experiences for people of all ages. Downtown is booming, with nearly $100 million of projects under construction, with the South 8th Street development, Nova Tower, the Ellsworth, Luna Flats, among others that are either completed or under construction. Many new downtown businesses opened their doors this past year, further adding variety and diversity to our urban center. Our economy is strong and our businesses continue to invest in our community. Unemployment is at 1.5% for Lafayette, a tremendous turnaround from the recent pandemic high. Numerous groups and businesses are working on job training and workforce development across multiple platforms. Working with Tippecanoe County, West Lafayette, Greater Lafayette Commerce, and Purdue University, we continue to pursue new business opportunities for capital investment and job creation. We continue strong investments in our road, water, wastewater, and stormwater infrastructure, including a new public works campus to better serve Lafayette citizens so that we can react at the speed of business and to be prepared for the future. In addition, our utilities and sanitations department operate at high efficiency, keeping our city running smoothly. I'd also like to recognize the hardworking men and women of the Lafayette Fire Department who are always ready to serve and once again achieve the remarkable ISO rating of 2, putting them in the top just few percent of the entire United States. In conclusion, our community is well positioned for the future. We have great citizens, great team members, a strong business community, and a committed local building trades and craftsmen. We also have a compassionate and generous community that reaches out to help others. Our community provides endless opportunities to live, work, and play, and because of all of these reasons, Greater Lafayette was selected as the Indiana State Chamber of Commerce Community of the Year for 2021. So again, thank you to everyone for all that you do, and may God continue to bless our community. Thank you, everyone.
Miscellaneous and new business?
We'll let him do that then. We got a video to show you too. Go ahead, Perry.
I guess that's miscellaneous and new business. We'll show the video.
All right, well, if you guys can come out here and grab a seat real quick, we'll show you a video.
Stay there.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
See? One thing about being on the end.
Yep.
This is just some fun stuff. Part of it's in the talk, part of it's not. This breaks me up talking too long.
Sure you didn't break it, Mom.
I didn't. I saw him pushing buttons. I told him not to do it.
I was the kid in school, I was always in the back.
We're doing some things for Franciscan and IU Health both to help with the morale of their frontline workers. Thank you for helping make all that possible.
Reports of councilmen?
I'd just like to second what the mayor said about all the folks that cleared the snow. I've talked to people who live in different areas around the city and was out a little bit myself. Fantastic job. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, many citizens always complain about people who work for the government being on the dole and just living off the government, but I always like to remind people that if it were not for the government workers, we wouldn't have what we have in this city. And they do, most of them do the thankless jobs that none of us would want to do. And so I want to thank all the city employees and commend the mayor for the wonderful job that he's doing. And because of working at Lafayette Urban Ministry, we've worked with the Lafayette Police Department on several occasions, and they do a tremendous job. They're very professional, and they do a tremendous job in some very difficult positions. And people don't realize that when they walk into a situation, a lot of times they don't know what's going to happen. And it's not as cut and dried as it used to be when you were just dealing with criminals. You're dealing with a lot of people with mental health issues and drug addictions and so forth. And it's a volatile situation, and we ask a lot of them. So I want to thank them and the fire department, the street department, the sanitation department, people who pick up the garbage, and everything, all the city workers for what they do to make this city beautiful and a wonderful place to live.
Thank you. Any other reports of councilmen? And now, at the end of this and every city council meeting, there will be time reserved for public comment on any issue that concerns you as far as the city. Please remember to keep your comments concise and limited to 3 minutes. Finally, the open comment section is not an opportunity for you to make inappropriate remarks about or to personally attack council members or city officials. Again, all participants are required to maintain a high level of civility, respect, and courtesy for everyone present. Any participant who, after being advised that persists in this discourteous or hostile behavior, will be asked to leave. This is your opportunity to contribute to your community and assist the city council in finding out what you need. Public comment is open.
You know, unlike most of you, I start my name with an R in front of it. But nevertheless, I've never worked around any city that had a more functional group of people that make the city go. I don't agree with it all the time, neither do you. So anyway, when I don't agree, you know, I come and talk about it. But, you know, the snow removal this weekend was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I can remember when it took a week to get a snowplow down after a storm like that. It's not like that now. And that's because of advanced preparation and planning. Our streets were clear. I actually caught the police, I hope this doesn't, but I actually caught the police assisting people. Can you imagine that? Don't let the media get a hold of that. But you spoke of trash removal. You know, that's a thankless job. Where would we be without them? And at Christmas time, just a little gratuity for me. What it's done for me in the last year is almost every week they returned my trash cans to my garage door. I didn't ask them to. Just a little thank you at Christmas time, and that was it. But we have a wonderful community here, and some of the things that are offered in this community, people are not taking advantage of. The Civilian Police Academy is one of those things, and if you've never taken part in that, I would encourage you to do it, because you'll learn what those people have to deal with day in and day out. And the amount of restraint that they show is beyond what I could.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We haven't heard from you in a while. Glad to see you back.
I will always say this, Lloyd knows it. He's the one that brought us all those pictures from his vacations that got our public art stuff started down at Wabash Avenue with Wabash Walls. He was the one that came to a meeting and brought us all his vacation pictures of murals, and that got us started doing that.
Wonderful.
Citizen input, don't you love it?
Engaged citizen. Nice.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? There being none. Mr. Clinker, we'll take that.
I move for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor, say bye.
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 I am bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Very nice. Good job, Mayor.